Warning. You are entering a restricted area. Return to where you came from, or be destroyed.
You're heading your way towards the useless nerdy knowledge. Please do not go any further. If you will not comply, you will hear a nerd rambling.
Nerd alert!
Get those nerds! Nerd! Nerd! Nerd!
Exterminate!
Go ahead, make my day.
Bazinga!
I'll be back.
Hello, fellow podcast listeners. Welcome to another episode of Useless Nerdy Knowledge. I'm the Prince of Darkness. No, I'm not. But I'm here with a little special guest, Hunter Pokorney. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And basically, we're both pretty much nerdy movie fanatics. And I guess I'll have you introduce yourself for a little bit. Just like tell me about yourself and what you like and all that stuff.
I'm Hunter Pokorney. I really like movies. I don't think I have anything against any genre in particular, too. But I really like the comic book movies and the classic, like the big ones like that too. And yeah, my favorite movie is V for Vendetta. So
Nice. That's a good choice. Yeah. For me, for those who probably like do know or don't know. I collect like a lot of like DVDs of like, you know, science fiction, horror, or action, or pretty much anything. Like you should totally like see my entire DVD collection. It's a mess. I might come up with like a new hour, 2-part or maybe even 3-part video of like my entire DVD collection. It's crazy because I have like a whole kind of a checklist thing or whatever I have on my phone of like over 600 DVDs. It's crazy. So. Anyway, so for the topic for this episode, I decided was basically talking about like, you know, different superpowers and like which one would be the best one for us. So I think that the one that most people would think of for like a superpower would be like flying, you know, like Superman or Iron Man or, you know, some superheroes like that. So I feel like maybe we should go over like the pros and cons of like having flying just being your own just like one superpower. Like I think we'll just like discuss like, you know, one superpower and then just like discuss the pros and cons and then move on and then think about a couple more superpowers. So I'll start with you. What do you think are like the pros for just flying?
Oh, well, obviously getting around. And I guess you could like reach things on the top shelf because I'm short. But getting into the getting into the cons a little bit, I guess it would be like if it's just flying and you can go as fast as you can, you just maybe like a flying through a fly would be like a bullet hitting you and you just die.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Jeez.
Yeah. Because if it's just flying at any speed you want, like you die pretty quick.
Wow. Yeah, and that if like, you know, there's like some sort of aircraft in the sky, like if it's a plane or some sort of rocket that comes out of nowhere, you're just toast. Like if you've seen The Incredibles of how like, you know, the guys with capes, they get like launched into the jets and they get killed. It's like
yeah.
So yeah, that's one right there. Or even
like in Chronicle, they get hit by lightning.
Oh yeah. Can you like fly in a tornado? Like if you just like, you know, go at the same speed as a tornado and just like go like around it, would you be able to withstand that?
Yeah, maybe some shrapnel would hit you though, but if you could go the same speed as their tornado, I guess it would just be like a nice day.
Maybe. I feel like if I wanted to like actually, you know, be around a tornado and have like the ability to fly, I'd want to like stay in like the eye of the storm, you know what I mean? Just to be like, ooh, this looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I would probably agree with that, just like, yeah. Now, I feel like let's see, another one that most people would talk about is, like, invisibility. I can't really think of any, there's, like, one superhero in particular I can think of that only has invisibility, which is the Invisible Woman from the Fantastic Four. That's
Oh yeah.
the only one I can recall that has like an invisibility power. Is there anyone that I might be forgetting that might also have that?
Miles Morales can do that. He can turn
Oh.
invisible for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he's also got the bioelectricity. He's just Spider-Man, but better.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, that's like, yeah. I can't really think of any others. I think it's like, common in like different like knockoff superhero movies and all that, like, parodies or something like that, but I can't really think of any other like big major characters that might have that.
In The Boys, if you've ever seen The Boys,
I don't think I have.
there's a superhero in that called Translucence. Or he's also invisible.
Oh,
but
nice. Okay.
yeah.
So I think the pros for that, for invisibility, would be like, if there was like someone you didn't want to talk to, or if it was like an ex-girlfriend or something like that, you'd be like, oh geez, and then just turn invisible, right, like that, and then you could just like walk past them. Or if it was like someone you like really, really hated, like if there was like someone you hated in high school, it's like, oh hey, it's that person, then you like pull a huge prank on them or just trip them over, and they're like, what did I fall over? So that could be one, and I feel.
Does your idea of classic invisibility, do you think that would include the clothes that you're wearing turning invisible, or do you have to take them all off?
That is a good question. I would probably say, I feel like if you were wearing your own clothes, maybe it wouldn't, but I feel like that if maybe you wore something specific, like, I don't know, I guess it just depends really, like, if you wore specific clothes that you wore that would also turn invisible, that might work, but I guess if you're wearing other types of clothes or something like that, then maybe.
Yeah, that's in like the Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah.
Her suit also turns invisible with her.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, yeah.
And Violet.
Oh yeah,
from The Incredibles.
Yep, I was just about to bring her up, yeah.
And I guess in My Invisible Sister, if you wear something for long enough, your like field of invisibility will expand. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like what the cons would be for that. Well, I guess it would also depend. Like, would you be able to have like a limited amount of time with that, or would it be like for like however long you can, for however long you can until you like your mind shuts off and think, nah, I don't need to do it anymore, or something like that.
Oh yeah. Like maybe you can't like go to sleep while invisible. You got to be like concentrated or something.
That would be weird to sleep invisible. Like, what if like your parents wake you up being like, Billy, it's time for school. Where are you? And then you're just invisible in bed.
They just see a bulge in the bed and take off the blankets and you're not there.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
But also, I guess if you're like trying to go through a crowded area, naturally, if you're visible, people will try to like avoid you and not bump right into you. But
oh yeah,
it'd be hard to get like through a crowd if people can't see you.
Right. I guess another pro for that would be like you could be like a very, very useful super weapon where it's like if we were in a war, and like you need to take down the leader and all this stuff, like you could be like the one guy to be basically like, but of course you would have to be like super careful of like where you step and all that stuff, but. Yeah. Oh wait, Mystery Man. I forgot the Invisible Boy from Mystery Man. That's another one that has the invisibility superpower. That's another one of those like obscure superhero movies that I enjoy from time to time. Yeah. But yeah, that's just like another thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
What do you think you would? What power do you think you would enjoy the most?
Oh boy, that's difficult. Probably flight. Probably just because I could, like, fly and just, like, look at the beautiful landscapes, look at the skies, and all that stuff. That's probably one I would enjoy the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be pretty good.
Absolutely. Let's see. I'm trying to think of another one. Maybe super strength could be, like, another one where it's, like, you're, like, 10 or, like, 50 times stronger than a normal person or something like that. What would be the pros and cons for that?
For strength, well, you might just not know your own strength, like Lenny of Mice and Men, or
yeah,
that one scene in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man where doesn't realize how soft he needs to be with everything, and he's like breaking everything in his bathroom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like just all of a sudden get your superpowers and you're just like clumsily walking over, and then it's just like, oh, whoops.
Yeah,
I didn't
just
mean to.
breaking everything down.
Yeah. It's like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to break open the wall there. I just was moving some stuff.
Yeah.
Or if even you were like arm wrestling and you completely forgot that you're like stronger than someone, then you just like, dislocate their shoulder and just
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's that. What would be another superpower? Because we've only talked about like 3, and it's kind of hard for me to think of any.
I think this is probably this can easily get really overpowered, but telekinesis.
I was just gonna bring that up. Yeah, just like telekinesis or like psychic powers where you can lift things with your mind and all that. Yeah, I think that would be like really cool, really handy, but at the same time a bit dangerous to do. Maybe like, like it's easy like to get like different things from like the shelf or like carry things with you if your hands are full or something like that, or even if you don't feel like carrying anything.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like, and then it's like. Trying to, you have to be careful with like which angle you might pick something up, or otherwise you might hit someone else or maybe yourself. Just like if it's like a sword that you want to pick up with your mind, just try not to slice yourself in the head while you do that.
And like depending on how like dexterous you could be with it, you can do like really interesting things. And one of my favorite movies, Chronicle, they go really into that. And they're like teenage boys, so they're being teenage boys with it. So it's, and you could in the movie, spoiler alert, minor spoiler alert, they like figure out how they can lift themselves up to fly, and yeah, I think that's really interesting.
Right. Yeah. Like would telekinesis also be like one where you could like read someone's mind, like read their thoughts, or be able to.
I guess like depending on how minute you can be with it, like if you can feel the intrinsic like form of somebody's brain and see how the thoughts are organized, I guess if you understood what all that meant, then you could read minds and also like reorganize their minds to make them forget something, but you'd have to be like an absolute genius to be able to control that.
Right. Another power I just thought of was teleportation. I feel like that like every day I always wish I had teleportation. Like if I didn't have to drive so much going to and from like a couple different places, it's like, I'd just rather teleport somewhere just for 1 second. And then just do that. Like Nightcrawler is a huge example of like him teleporting wherever.
Oh yeah. I really like how Jumper makes the teleportation look. If you've ever seen Jumper,
I don't think
got Hayden Christensen in it. Darth Vader.
Okay. But so I think that with teleportation it would be like really useful, but I feel like that if we were given that option, I feel like it would be very limited because it's like I feel like that you would have to like picture yourself of like where you want to be exactly, and at the same time it might be a bit dangerous because if like everyone had that, it'd be like crazy. Everyone would be going all over the place.
People would be teleporting into each other.
I was just gonna say that it'd be like that SpongeBob episode where like where SpongeBob merged with Squidward.
And there was like an episode of The Flash where somebody had to like they have to see where they want to teleport, so they had like a tiny little telescope with them, and I think that'd be really interesting because it'd get boring if it was too overpowered and you can just teleport anywhere, but with that hindrance of you need to see exactly where you're going, I think that makes it a lot more fun.
Nice.
And then cool costume ideas.
Oh yeah. Can't have powers without a costume.
No, you can't.
Nope. Another, I don't know if this would exactly be considered a superpower, really, but I feel like one would, well, for example, like Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark, rich. Do you think that's a superpower?
Depends on how you use the money.
That is a very good point.
If you decide to make a very elaborate exoskeleton that can fly with it, then yeah, then it is.
I suppose so.
Or fight crime to avenge your parents.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. Another one I just thought of was regeneration. Like, if like your arm blew off
Like
and you could like,
Wolverine, yeah.
yeah, exactly like that. Um, what would be the pros and cons for that exactly? Like, obviously the pro for that would be, obviously like, you could reattach
die.
anything. What was that?
Yeah, it'd be hard to die, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It'd be like Groundhog Day for you if you like were like so fed up. It's like I just want to die already, and then it just doesn't work. It's like, well, dang it.
I feel like a con of that would, like, if anybody found out, I'm sure, like, the government would obviously try to, like, dissect you and try to
Oh yeah.
figure that out. And
See, that's the thing I've been wondering for a long time is like, we discover all of these like, animals like salamanders and like all these different lizards and even like starfish or whatever that like, have these like, regenerate these things and reattach new limbs. I'm surprised that like, there has been like scientists or something, maybe there is, I don't know, of like, getting these animal cells and then like, doing experiments with their like regenerative tissues and like trying to blend it with like human cells and like trying to see if what would happen if like you were able to regenerate any limbs. Like I think
Yeah.
it might be possible, but at the same time a bit risky because I don't know if it would work ever. But it's a thought though. It's a thought.
yeah, that's where you get into the possible supervillain territory, where they don't get the permission to do it on human subjects, so they do it on themselves and they turn into a big lizard monster,
Right.
and then you get killed by Spider-Man. And
Right. Now, speaking of which, for like, if you did like get a superpower, would you keep your identity secret by hiding behind a mask, or would you actually like show your name out to the world and say, yes, this is who I am, and all that? If you had like a
I
certain
feel like for a
superpower.
lot of people, they would just not like go the superhero route and like try to take down bad people. I feel like they just like have it and use it in their everyday life.
Right.
So there'd be like no point in wearing a mask
Mm,
while doing your power in public. But I think I would go the superhero route, being a big nerd.
right.
And I think I would definitely not pass up the opportunity to have a costume.
Right. I might do the same
Uh-huh.
thing. Like I always like the whole like mystery of like certain superheroes, how they never really truly give their identity, and like some of those like close calls of like, oh, that almost happened, but thankfully it didn't.
Yeah. I feel like that idea has gone away. I remember it used to be like way more in the front of my head that superheroes cannot give away their identity, but I guess with the new superhero movies and Iron Man just saying that he's Iron Man and
Right.
Thor being a literal god, so it doesn't matter if people know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like people don't really think about keeping their identity secret these days.
Yeah. I think that another interesting superpower I could think of just off the top of my head. I'm using an example from a Japanese TV show called Ultraman, where basically a human transforms into a giant superhero, like about 500 feet or something like that. To
Isn't he like a robot or an alien? At least?
he's an alien. Lots of people confuse him for
Yeah.
a robot just because he looks silver and all that, but no, he's not a robot. I have to tell like people constantly, like, is he a robot? No. But yeah, he's like an alien. But basically, yeah, it's like, turning like around 400, 500 feet to stop a giant kaiju or whatever. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think would be like the pros and cons for that?
I don't know, maybe like accidentally turn into the giant robot when you're in your house, destroying everything.
Oh, yeah, I could definitely see that.
Like maybe you sneeze and you turn into the robot just for like a half a second, but your house is gone now.
Oh yeah, but I feel like the cons for that would be like really cool because it's like, if you were like in some sort of like Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade, you could just like walk around and be like the star of the show. It's like, well, these balloons are nothing now.
Hold one of the balloons up with your
Yeah.
hands.
Oh, absolutely. You just like walk over people and be like, hey, how's it going? But at the same time, try not to step on them.
Yeah, I like that trope in movies where there's like the people are dressed up and then they end up like at like a Halloween or like some kind of dressing up event, and then they're like, nice costume,
Right. With like, even if you're not like transforming into a superhero, if you were like just accidentally grown like around 100 feet or something like that, like in Attack of the 50-Foot Woman or like Amazing Colossal Man or something like that. If you were like
Yeah.
abnormally huge, you wouldn't be able to fit in any clothes. You would have to like makeshift clothes and all that stuff. That would be like a huge con. They'd be like, oh well, this sucks. I'm naked out in the middle of the city, and I need to get out of here.
That's true. I feel like that's the least of your worries then.
Right. I feel like another superpower I could think of is like maybe transforming into animals or like certain objects. Maybe. I feel like that might be a bit
Shape
useful.
shifting then?
Yeah,
Or
that's it. Yeah.
okay, yeah, that would be cool.
Right.
Do you think it would be like Terminator, or you can't like turn into any moving parts,
Oh, I guess
or
just
can you turn into a car and just?
pretty much. I think for this just this little thing, I feel like it would just be like anything, like a car, a person, anything
Okay,
really.
okay.
Yeah, Terminator 2. I didn't think about that one. But yeah, I feel like that would kind of be like a different type of subject maybe to talk about. But I feel like
Yeah,
turning
yeah.
into anything or anyone, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that would be so. That would be way overpowered. Because Mystique already,
Oh yeah.
I think in the comics, can do a lot more than she originally could.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she can only just pretty much turn into people. But
Right. I'm trying to think of any other superpowers that I can think of. Let's see. Maybe like walking on walls or something like that.
like Spider-Man's powers, basically.
Yeah, something like that.
Spider-Man being my favorite superhero, that would be the dream.
Absolutely.
Who is your favorite superhero?
I would probably say Spider-Man. Yeah, because
Okay.
I grew up with Spider-Man, and he was my
Uh-huh.
favorite superhero ever since I was a kid. So yeah, 100% Spider-Man.
Which version of Spider-Man did you grow up with, assuming it was the movies?
Maguire. I grew up with Maguire.
Yeah, me too.
He was my-
I dressed up as, I got like 4 different costumes of Spider-Man like 4 years in a row when I was a kid, and I would rewatch those movies all the time. And then when I heard that there was going to be a new Spider-Man movie in 2011, I was at the midnight showing with my dad. I was the youngest, and he was the oldest in that theater.
Awesome. I remember like when let's see, I think before Spider-Man 3 came out, for Halloween I dressed up in like in a regular Spider-Man outfit where he had like huge pecs that like puffed out, which was kind of funny.
Oh yeah, the foam muscles.
Yeah, that was awesome. I had a friend of mine do
Uh-huh.
that, except he didn't have the muscles, so I was just more the buffy one. So
Yeah, because me being 5, I'm not too shredded. So
right. And then when Spider-Man 3 came out, they had like a Halloween costume for the symbiote suit.
yeah.
And I
That's
could
what I had,
not
too.
pass that up. That was like my favorite of all time because it's like I think I have a picture of that somewhere, but it was just like so cool to wear. Like it was just so much fun. I remember my uncle like made a joke when I had like the Spider-Man outfit where it's like, "Hey, you stole Spider-Man's outfit. Now he's naked somewhere." It's like, "No."
I was just there. I was like, this is something else. And
Right.
I have like 4 or 5 Spider-Man Pez's, and one of them's like kind of old from like the 80s,
Oh
which
wow.
I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love collecting like all sorts of merchandise, not just the comics from like all the like 70s and 80s, but even like the old like little knickknacks or little action figures and all that stuff that you
Yeah.
like find and all that. It's just like really cool to have.
As a kid, I never really got into comics. I wish I had, and even now, I'm not too into comics, but I really like them. I was at a Comic-Con a few months ago, and I saw that there was like a Spider-Man with Dr. Octopus, and I could not pass that one up, so I got it. And then I also saw Howard the Duck, and I thought that was funny, so
Oh,
I got
yeah.
that one too.
Yeah.
So I own 2 comics.
Wow. Well, I gotta start your comic collection somewhere. For us, we have like a lot of like really cool key issues. Like we have the first appearance of Wolverine, which is awesome, and the first appearance of the symbiote suit of Spider-Man there.
Yeah.
So it's like really cool. And like
That is cool.
yeah. And I'm just getting into like some comics that I'm interested in. I have like a few Howard the Duck issues, some of Savage and Sensational She-Hulk, quite a handful of Incredible Hulk, and a bunch of others. But it's like really cool. to collect them. Even if like you don't read them, even if you just like skim through them and look through all the like the different ads and all that stuff, it's like really cool to have a look through it like of a blast from the past type of thing.
It's like this is what people were buying for like 15 cents and just reading and being invested in. That's what's really cool to me.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think too of like back then this was like this much 10 or 15 cents, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh wow, it's like this much now. It's hard to believe.
And seeing the ads in those comics for old things, those are funny.
Oh yeah. Were you? Did you ever like? Not to go off topic, but just like really, really briefly, did you ever like have or try any of those like things on the backs of like cereal boxes where it's like get this many tokens from this many like cereal boxes, mail it, and then you get like a free prize or something like that? Have you ever like done anything like that before?
I definitely really wanted to, and I would do it, but I would forget after like the second one, so I just have like a box of like Dum Dum wrappers and cardboard cutouts of things, and
I did that.
Never enough to get anything.
Yeah, I did that like very rarely as a kid, but that it did happen eventually. Like I remember one time, Kid Cuisine had like a little thing where it's like if you get this many tokens, you can get a free backpack, and I did that. I think it's still like somewhere in my garage. I just don't know where, but I think it's still there. And then I did another one.
You got the backpack?
Oh yeah. Another one I got was like a Kung Fu Panda blanket back when the movie was like a huge hit, and it was like I think get like a few tokens from like a Kellogg's box, and you get like this little blanket. I still have it. I actually have it like right in front of me right here.
that is cool.
I only use it just to like prop something up against the wall, really. But I think another one I can recall off the top of my head was like a little plushie from like a extremely obscure cheese doodle knockoff company or whatever the heck, but I think I still have it. I can't remember where it's at. I know it's still there, and the only one I can recently recall was just because I was bored. My dad like had a whole bunch of cereal boxes. It was like one of those things where it's like those grab and go board games of like Trouble and Battleship, and like it's like put in these 3 codes for the cereal box, and then you get a free board game in like 2 to 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, I'll get Battleship, and it was kind of interesting to see, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you can tell why these are cheap because they're like the smallest thing ever, and it's like, oh wow.
Yeah. I would always. I feel like I'm just blind to them, but I feel like they've gone away. The toys in the bottom of a cereal bag.
Oh
Sad.
Yeah. I miss those.
I
Those were like
remember those.
I think they still exist, but like they were so cool back then because like the commercials would always hype it up, being like, "Look, you can get this free this, collect them all." Because I remember like
plastic ring.
Oh yeah, because I remember like when Despicable Me 2 came out, you would get like these little keychain little things. I remember like wanting to collect them all, and anytime I got something I already had, I was just like, no. It's always like when I get a Happy Meal toy where it's like, no, I already have this one. I want a different one.
The one thing I did actually collect, and I got all of them. I would buy like 4 chocolate frog cards from the bookshop in the mall where I live every week, and I was trying to just get a Dumbledore because he's the rarest.
Oh,
and now I end up I have 2 of him, and the one thing that I just have 1 of is Slytherin. But yeah, I collected a bunch of chocolate frog cards.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think of just like maybe one more superpower to wrap up this episode. Maybe you can think of something.
Medium awareness. Like Deadpool.
Oh.
I can only think of Deadpool having it, but...
Okay. So what would be the pros and cons for that, exactly?
Well, of course, if I had medium awareness, I would know if I was in a comic book or movie.
Right.
And I'd be able to, talk to the audience, look over at the camera.
Gotta love that 4th wall break.
But then also you might become depressed and existentialism and stuff. That's always bad.
I guess I didn't think about that.
Uh-huh.
Now I can see what Ferris Bueller goes through on a daily basis.
That is true. That is true. Him and Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
Must be awful.
That'd be an interesting crossover. All right. Well, this was a really fun discussion. Thank you very much, Hunter, for being my special guest on Useless Nerdy Knowledge.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no
Of
problem.
course.
All right. Anything else you want to say before the end of this episode?
If you're interested in awful content, go to my YouTube channel. It's my name. But, yeah, that's it.
Okay, I will put the link in the description.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, and we will see you, fellow podcast listeners, next time.